Welcome to a supersized post-build, post-Google I/O episode of Week in IT, written and edited by the real-live editors of Converge 360 and narrated by AI. I'm your host, Gladys Rama. As you might expect, we have a lot of headlines to cover, thanks to some titans of tech going back and forth on AI the last few weeks, so let's get rolling. First, Microsoft kicked off its Build 2025 Developer Conference with a definitive message. We've entered the era of AI agents, and it wants to be at the forefront of it. At the heart of Microsoft's agentic AI push is a new GitHub Copilot agent that's embedded directly into GitHub and activates when users assign it a GitHub issue or prompt it in VS Code. What makes this agent particularly impressive is its ability to autonomously handle a wide range of development tasks, from implementing new features to fixing bugs and improving documentation. Microsoft also announced Copilot Tuning, a low-code solution that transforms how organizations can customize their AI experiences. Essentially, Copilot Tuning lets companies train AI models using their own internal data, workflows, and processes without requiring deep technical expertise. With Copilot Tuning, businesses can build specialized agents tailored to their specific domain needs, whether they're in the legal industry or a consulting practice, just as examples. As far as security goes, Microsoft assures that customer data used for tuning isn't used to train its own foundation models. Copilot Tuning should be available starting in June through an early adopter program. Additionally, Microsoft announced significant updates to Copilot Studio, which is already being used by more than 230,000 organizations. The platform now supports multi-agent orchestration, enabling multiple specialized AI agents to collaborate and divide tasks based on their areas of expertise. This capability, currently in public preview, allows for scenarios like automated employee onboarding where HR, IT, and operations agents can work in parallel to get a new employee up and running. Copilot Studio is also gaining broader model interoperability through integration with Azure AI Foundry. This gives developers access to nearly 2,000 models, including industry-specific LLMs, effectively creating a bring-your-own-model environment. On the Azure development front, Microsoft released the VoiceLive API to public preview, opening new possibilities for developers to create more natural AI voice interactions. This API makes it possible to build AI voice agents capable of real-time, two-way conversations that feel much more like natural phone calls than traditional voice assistants. It supports conversational features that mimic human interaction, like the ability to interrupt the agent mid-sentence. It's latency-aware, which means it can maintain natural conversation timing, which makes it particularly well-suited for customer service applications, virtual assistants, and other interactive voice experiences. And one last thing from Build. The public preview of SQL Server 2025 is now here, with major improvements in AI integration, performance optimization, and reliability. The AI functionality is particularly noteworthy. We get into more detail about this in an article by Joey D'Antoni over on redmondmag.com, but SQL Server 2025 users will be able to maintain complete control over which AI models they use and where those models run. The AI models remain external to the database engine, meaning organizations can host models in their own data centers or leverage models from various cloud providers without consuming resources from their own servers. For developers, SQL Server 2025 brings several long-requested features, like a native JSON data type and built-in support for regular expressions and fuzzy string matching, eliminating the need for common language runtime implementations. Another much-requested perk is the new Standard Developer Edition. This edition enables developers to test applications intended for Standard Edition deployment without purchasing more licenses, ensuring better compatibility and compliance. That takes care of one mega conference. Let's pivot to another. At Google I/O last week, the internet giant unveiled AI mode in search, a significant evolution of last year's AI overviews feature. The capability allows users to interact with Google in a much more natural, conversational way. Users can now pose complex, multi-part questions in search. And it's multimodal. AI mode accepts inputs through text, voice, or images, expanding the ways users can initiate searches. For example, you could show Google's search an image of a plant and ask specific questions about how to care for it. Google has also introduced an ambitious new deep search initiative that can reason across disparate pieces of information and synthesize expert-level reports complete with citations, potentially saving users hours of manual research. Other impressive features include live capabilities, which responds in real time to what your camera sees, and the ability to generate interactive, query-specific data visualizations like comparing sports team performance or analyzing financial trends based on real-time data. While these were undoubtedly the attention grabbers at I/O, Google was simultaneously orchestrating a quieter but equally significant transformation of Chrome itself. As my colleague John K. Waters observed in an ADTMag blog, Google is effectively rewiring the browser to function as a native AI operating layer, bringing intelligence directly into the client without constant cloud dependencies. Chrome now includes on-device AI models, starting with Gemini Nano, Google's most efficient small language model. This means developers can tap into powerful AI capabilities without sending data to remote servers. Google has also supercharged Chrome's dev tools with Gemini-powered assistants. Having trouble with a CSS layout issue? Simply ask, and the AI will explain the problem and suggest fixes. These changes, and a bunch more that we don't have time to cover in this little podcast today, represent a fundamental shift in how we think about browsers. They transform Chrome from a simple rendering engine into a full-fledged AI agent host with native support for prompt orchestration. Okay, a few more tidbits from Google I/O. In a move that directly counters Microsoft's GitHub initiatives, Google has unveiled Jules, an asynchronous coding agent that integrates with GitHub repositories. Unlike assistants that require constant interaction, Jules works independently in the background, tackling your coding backlog while you focus on more important tasks. Jules clones your GitHub repository to a cloud VM, analyzes your codebase, and then tackles assignments ranging from bug fixes to documentation updates and even new feature development. The agent is powered by Gemini 2.5 Pro, Google's multimodal AI model specifically optimized for coding tasks. And speaking of Gemini, Google's AI ecosystem has some new entries. Gemini 2.5 Flash delivers improved coding and reasoning performance with dramatically faster response times. There's also Gemini Diffusion for developers needing specialized capabilities like rapid text generation, Gemma 3N for multimodal tasks on edge devices, and Lyria Real-Time for interactive music creation. Google is also pushing into specialized domains with models like MedGemma for healthcare applications and the upcoming SignGemma for sign language translation. And finally, something that has nothing to do with either Microsoft or Google. Salesforce is acquiring data management firm Informatica for $8 billion in an all-cash deal meant to buttress Salesforce's AI capabilities. Salesforce plans to tightly integrate Informatica's cloud-native data services into its platform, including governance, metadata management, and master data management solutions, all of which are expected to significantly enhance Salesforce's Data Cloud, MuleSoft, Tableau, and Agentforce offerings. The transaction is set to close in Salesforce's fiscal 2027, with the company planning to move quickly on integration and investing in sectors such as healthcare, financial services, and the public sector. And that's a wrap. But before I let you go, what's the worst thing that's happened in your IT career? We're looking for horror stories, whether that's a lengthy outage, a failed backup, a ransomware attack, or some other on-the-job IT nightmare. If you have a disaster story, we want to hear it. There's a link to a form you can fill out to share your story in the description box below. Thanks in advance. And as always, thanks for listening. Catch you again next week.